friends from, not just from the movement, but our connection to the Russian relatives who survived Siberia, came back to Lithuania, and with whom we were writing all along. It corresponding, when my mother-in-law died, she asked me, she asked me to promise to take care of her brother who had survived the war and was living in Vilna. He had come from Kovna, but he couldn't live there anymore. There were no more Jews in Kovna. I promised. And a promise is a promise. The way Shalom Aleichem would say, a gang is a gang. So when my husband had to go to Warsaw on business with the Polish shipping division, the communists were in Poland, of course. This was still the Cold War. And he said, "Do you think you want to go to Warsaw with me?" I looked him straight in the eye and said, "Only if you get us to Vilna to find your uncle." We were corresponding in Yiddish, and Uncle was writing in Yiddish only. And he was writing in code, because he'd written that way to his sister. If he said we're as well off as Moshe, because Moshe was dead, he meant they're in terrible trouble. And we got there, and we found Uncle. We were tracked by the KGB all along. On the train from Warsaw up to Vilna was an odyssey of a 9-hour ride, with changing of the track, changing the train, and being examined at the border. It was quite an interesting experience. I was wearing a lot because I was bringing clothes that I would give to Tante. I bought a mouton lamb coat that they could trade for something. I was wearing this heavy thing.
And what was it like when you arrived in Vilna?
In Vilna, at the train station, Tante and Uncle were waiting for us, and the in-tourist agent, who was really looking over our shoulder and into everything. What we did not know, there was a crowd in at the station, like onlookers, like a Greek chorus-looking crowd. What we didn't know is that Yasha and Sonia, Yitz's first cousin, and his wife were in the crowd. Yasha was told by his boss, if you approach the Americans, you'll lose your job. If you say hello, you will lose your job. If you visit them, you will lose your job. So he had survived the war in an orphanage in Russia. The Lithuanians set fire to the cabins in the forest where they were outside of Vilna, of Kovna. And he and his brother had been sent to summer camp. They were each in a different cabin because they were different ages. The Germans marched across the border into Lithuania, and the Lithuanians went on a rampage, killing Jews. The Lithuanian counselors boarded up the windows of the wooden cabins and set fire to them where the Jewish children were. And the counselor of Yasha's bunk was feeling some remorse and came to the back and pulled off the wood, and he yelled to the boys, "Run into the woods." It's a huge forest, well known, the partisans hid there. And the boys ran into the woods, but his brother Abba was in a different cabin, and he was burned alive. Yasha was picked up with his friends by the Russians in the forest and taken to an orphanage and spent time in the orphanage there. A second cousin was a major in the KGB because he knew 9 languages and he was doing translating for them. And Love found his name in an orphanage list, and he recognized immediately and went to Uncle, who had come back from Siberia with his wife in Vilna, and said, "Here's Chaim's son." They got the boy and they brought him to Uncle, who adopted his nephew. And that was Yasha. Yasha was a hooligan of a terrible teenager, but he straightened out, got a PhD in physics, and had a very good job. And he couldn't see us. So when we said we're going on to Moscow, after 3 days in Vilna visiting them, speaking Yiddish all the while, because they really didn't have any English. Uncle could understand English, but Tante not at all. Not her son. Her daughter was living with a husband in a scientific community outside Moscow. And Tante said, she'll come with us to Moscow. We will, she said, I'll be able to visit Lova there, this second cousin. So we registered at the airport, and she said to us on the side, Yasha and Sonia are going to be on a bench as we walk to the plane, but don't look at them. Just walk by. They want to see you up close. And we walked past them. They were crying, and we were crying. He looked a lot like my husband. We had known about them, but we had never known them. It's wonderful now to have them in Israel and be so close to them.